Hi, chat. It's okay. I'm doing just as great as some of you are doing right now. Thank you everyone for joining us for the mixing relay, or for the remixing relay. This was an idea that we literally cooked up last night. We didn't really know how we were gonna go about releasing them, and I'm so glad we did it this way, because yeah, I feel, you know, it's the last little thing that we can do to like get that like community feeling between all of us. Hold on, I'll turn the background music down a little bit. Like, it's the last like community thing that we can do for this project with everybody. I have a lot to say, and I'm sure there's a lot of it that I'm not going to say because I'm gonna need some more time to process it. Like, we were talking earlier, I was talking with a couple of others, and we were going like, yeah, I think you're gonna need at least like a business week or two to just process that all of this happened. But I wanted to do this stream now that everything related to the world outside is out, and everything that I worked on is out. I wanted to, I guess, share the perspective of one of the very small cogs in the 130 people-shaped machine that was this project. Because, like, let's be real, relatively speaking, my contribution to this project is incredibly small, just because of how many people there are. Like, I cannot overstate the fact how large this team is, and how we needed every single one of those people to bring it all the way to the finish line on time. I was a mere speck of dust in that, but still a speck of dust that experienced a lot of emotions and feelings during all of this. So I'm gonna try my best to shed some light on some of it. I will say though, obviously, if you guys haven't watched the original video yet, please do, but I'm assuming most of you have, and if you have, you are probably aware of the fact that we got some very special guests for that video. Special guests by the name of Mori Calliope, Ninomai Inanis, and Takanashi Kiara, aka the three other girls of myth. And because of that, I hope that you guys understand, like, I can't go into the project stems, or, like, I can't go into any of those parts, because while I was the person handed the privilege to tune and time the vocals of the three myth girls, those are staying on my PC and the PCs of the people who are in the know. They're not being, like, I'm not going to show them anywhere for obvious reasons, right? I have to keep some of those things under wraps. But we can talk about some other stuff, and I can talk about, like, the piano versions, and I can shed some light on, like, how we were keeping that secret from everybody, because the lengths that we went to, I guess that's, like, one of the first things I can talk about. The lengths that we went to keep Myth's involvement a secret from the entire project team is stupid, and it felt like pulling off, like, a heist. No one had a clue that this was happening, and the reason why is because we were constantly making two versions of both the music and the video. Like, whenever we had something that, like, we wanted to share with the rest of the team, we would make an exact replica of that same version, just without the myth vocals, and then send that into the group chat, or into the server, so that, like, people could comment on it, people could, like, check it, give feedback, etc. So that they wouldn't find out. And it was really funny and extremely stressful. It's probably, like, the biggest secret that I've ever had to keep. Because I know Riku would kill me, first of all. Yeah, the project service that secures a leaky faucet. First of all, that, of course. But second of all, like, it was important for us that it would be a surprise to everyone else working on it, because I can tell from my own personal experience, the moment I figured out that myth vocals were going to be in this, in something I was actively working on, the amount of anxiety that I got from just that knowledge, not even like the anxiety of me having to work on it, but just the knowledge, like that shot my anxiety through the roof, and we wanted to protect everyone else from that, because like if all the vocalists knew that they were going to be singing alongside Myth, I think a lot of them wouldn't have taken the risks that they did, because quite a few vocalists, they submitted one take. We had a bunch of harmony lines, including the elusive Harmony 4, which I'll talk about in a little bit, because that was really funny. But a lot of people only submitted like the main vocal line that they were required to submit and didn't submit any of the harmonies. We went back and tried to convince so many people to just give them a shot. And the fact that we got to 160 voices at the end of it is entirely down to people taking that encouragement to heart and going outside of their comfort zone. I think if we hadn't done that, we would have been lucky to get past 100 submissions, right? So, and I genuinely do think that if those people were all aware of the fact they would be singing alongside Callie, Ina, and Kiara, I think a lot of them would have shit themselves. I think a lot of them would have shit themselves and not submitted something, or maybe like got super in their own head about what they were submitting, and then like decided, no, this isn't good enough or something like that. So it was important to like protect other people from that, because there was already enough stress on the project team, especially like the art, animation, and the music team, like, and the editing team, obviously. Like, there were so many points during which I genuinely didn't know if this project was gonna make it on time. And by on time, we don't mean like before Gura's graduation. We wanted to like give it a day or two before then, so that like people had enough time to watch it and then process it a little bit, and so that it would help people preemptively with the like sadness of the actual graduation. So like I'm glad that we were able to push it out at the time that we did, but there were times during which I thought like, I don't know if this is gonna get finished or not. I was in the VC with editors and animators during the final stretch at one point, and like there was a lot of panic going on. And yeah, I'm so amazed that like it came together as well as it did. I want to shout out a few people before I like keep going on anything else. Because as you saw in the video just now, there were like 4 special shout outs that I put on screen and gave like a little bit more a little bit more time in the sun. But there were a lot more people in the special thanks. And I just quickly want to go over those people and give them all their time in the sun, because they all do deserve it. So I am gonna start with my own team, my pride and joy team, Toon Time. I was not ready for how close I would grow to these people over the course of these 2 weeks. The level of like brothership and like genuine friendship between everyone on the Toon Time team. We were hyping each other up constantly. We were gassing each other up every time we were hanging out in the Project VC while we were working until the very, very early hours of the morning. For myself, that would typically be like 6 to 8 a.m. I would be up until sunrise, and then I would head to bed for a few hours and then get back to it, and everyone would be there again. Obviously, the main person from the Toon Time team that I need to shout out is Chris. Chris was the lead of the Toon Time team, was the first person of that team that I had an interaction with, because the moment I joined the server, he was immediately who I was directed to. Saber in chat for the people who are unfamiliar. He gave me instructions that were very clear, and I was like, all right, sure, I'll get on it. And I started. Gave me a bit of a push in the right direction very early on, because obviously I was stepping into... I didn't know what the scope of this project was when I joined, and I don't think anyone did. I don't think anyone truly had an idea that the final product would be something of this magnitude, that this was like the thing we were shooting for. So I had no idea. I thought, initially I was like, why have I been invited to the Toontime team? Surely, like, even if there's like, maybe they do it just like Under the Stars, where they have like a vocalist representing each member of Myth instead of just like Gura and Ame. Like maybe we have like 5, but even like 5 vocalists to like specifically have an entire team for Toontime seemed a little bit overkill. And then I saw that we were taking vocal submissions from as many chumbuds as possible, to make an entire choir of people. And the moment that I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, now I get it why this team exists. And Chris was the first person to give me instructions, saying like, yep, here's a spreadsheet with everyone's submissions. Grab one, mark it as in progress, Toontime it. Here's a guide file that you should Toontime it to, because obviously the timing especially is incredibly important for having this many voices, because if one person is slightly off time, or slightly too far off time rather, because you can be a tiny bit off and that really gives like a sea of people kind of feeling, but the moment that especially like the transients, aka like the loudest like hit of a sound, if they don't line up, you're gonna notice, right? So we had a guide file and we were told like very much stick to the timings in that file to the best of your ability. And we had to do that for 160 files by the end of it. Now, not all of that was the same vocal lines, because Riku, when writing the song, wrote 4 harmony lines. And let me just Riku. I don't know if you're still here, but we gotta talk, buddy. We gotta talk. You are an insane man for writing Harmony 4. You are a crazy man. And it's even more crazy that people actually sung it and they did it well. Because, oh my god. I don't think that I can or should pull up Harmony 4. I don't want to pull up any stems of the project here because those haven't been officially released by Riku, and that's not my place to. So I'm not gonna pull those up, but I can probably give it a piano really quick. So by the way, my model's gonna freak out a little bit because I'm gonna look to the left to my piano. It's normal. We accept it. So the main melody for the end, it was specifically the line, "A million days, a million years, a million laughs, a million tears, a million hearts that sing a million words that all mean love." Those lines, right? And it just went like this. So that was the bass line. It's just, you know, pretty easy. And then we had like it was basically just a repeat C note, just a million laughs, a million, or a million days, a million years, a million laughs, a million tears, a million hearts that sing a million words that all mean love. Right? Still pretty acceptable. You know, it's not too much higher. Then we had We had it basically an entire octave higher. Which already, a lot harder, but then Harmony 4 was, God, wait, no, I'm gonna turn off my desktop audio really quick and remember what the actual note was, because I deadass cannot remember. I think it was like a full octave higher. I think it was here. I think it was literally that. I need to double check. Hold on. That sounds right to me, but I just want to like double check. Let me open that up really quick. Yeah, that is 100% what it is. Which, so, just to remind you, the main vocals were right here. And then the harmony was an entire 2 octaves higher. 2 octaves. Even people doing that in, because obviously you weren't gonna belt that. You were gonna falsetto that. You were gonna head voice that. And even the people who did that struggled. Every single one of them struggled. Naturally. It is natural that they struggled. But we still had, how many Harmony 4 submissions did we end up getting? I think it was like a good, like, 10, 15, I think? 15 sounds about right. Is that something you normally don't do in music? It is, but at the same time, like, we didn't have, like, normally, like, when you write something, like, you would write it for the range of, like, the vocalist, right? Right now, we were just, like, we were dealing with such a large choir, that, like, surely there would be someone in there who could sing each line, right? I can't imagine we had many belting at the top 2 harms. I had 2 people. I don't remember their names. I tune-timed 2 people who were full-on belting Harmony 3. And it was genuinely stunning. Like, it was genuinely really, really impressive. But yeah, we had, let me check how many Harmony 4 submissions we had. We had a total of 12 people who sung Harmony 4. So out of the 160 files, 12 of them were singing Harmony 4. Genuinely, like, insanely impressive, all of those people. But yeah, we had a couple people straight up, like, full belting Harmony 2 and 3, which was so cool to see. Dude, I'm getting so off track because there's so many fun stories to tell about this. By the way, for the people watching, do not worry. This stream will end before the Myth collab relay starts in about an hour and 10 minutes. I know a lot of you are probably going to be watching that, self-included, and I don't want to take that away from anyone by still being live here, that you're, like, missing something here or you're missing something there that you have to choose. I'll make sure to end before that relay starts, so do not worry. Because obviously today is Goobity Buz's last day. And I think all of us are going to be sad enough watching that, so. But yeah, to get back to where I was. So Chris, he sent me on my way, and everything went okay, but obviously once I realized what the scope was, I immediately got hit with a little anxiety attack. So, like, whenever I finished the first one, because we were still very low on submissions at that time, like, that was very early on. Chris was also checking each submission before actually putting it into the spreadsheet. I ended up helping with that later down the week as well, because to make sure that the rest of the Toontime team wouldn't be listening to a file and then at some point realize, oh, I can't actually use this, then you've done all that work and you need to go back to the vocalist to go, hey, can't actually use this because of X, Y, and Z. You need to redo it. Or it would be in a state where some fixing would need to be done to it, like there would be a lot of background noise that needed to be taken out, there would be mouth clicks or just like audio clicks in the recording itself that needed to be fixed. Some people had their mic set up in a way that it would peak slightly, and peaks are hard to repair, but not impossible. Shout out RX, shout out Isotope. This project would crumble without Isotope. So, but what Chris would be doing, we call that triaging, would just checking all of the files, doing any fixing on it that needed to be done before starting tune timing, and then putting it in the spreadsheet. And there was still a relatively small amount of submissions at that time, so I just took one, and I started going on it. Immediately I was like, oh dude, I do not know if I am doing this well, so I sent what I had in the chat, asked for some feedback, immediately got it, and at that point I was like, okay, I think I know what to do. And over the next few days, I think I tune timed a total of about, gosh, I want to say like 25, 30 out of the 160, which, this is what I meant by I am but a mere small cog in this machine of 130 people. Because, like, even I, who, like, even in my own team, right, even within my own department, I only did, like, a small portion of the total work that was done on this project, right? I don't want, obviously, I'm probably one of the only people talking about this project, like, on stream and giving a bit more detail publicly. I don't want that to come across as, oh yeah, I did all of these things, because I didn't. I did not. I only want to take credit for the things that I did, and even then I don't really want to take credit for it, because I wouldn't have done those things if it wasn't for other people, right? But yeah, I started going. Eventually, I got comfortable enough to join the Team VC in the project Discord. I think I joined that for the first time on day 2, and that's really when I started locking in. At that point, I kind of committed. I had already shifted my entire commission schedule for like the 2 weeks. I still had a little bit of time to work on a commission in between then. Yeah, so that was interesting. Having to redo my entire schedule just so I could work on this project. I think I made the right decision. Because, you know, I mean, we've seen how the project turned out now. And I yesterday, after the video wrapped, Riku spoke to all of us for a little bit, and I remember him saying something along the lines of, when I like thanked him for like giving me the opportunity to actually work with the myth vocals, he said something along the lines of, well, it just goes to show that like when we see someone put a lot of effort into a project, like they'll be rewarded with like more trust and more yeah, like that will be recognized. And I swear, Riku's such like a good, like, he's a very good moral support kind of leader. And he really inspires confidence in people, and I really admire that about him, because yeah, he knows how to give people both a pick-me-up, but also it feels like he can sense when somebody needs something. Like it feels like he could almost sense whenever I like was working on something or sent something that I wasn't too sure about, and that I was like kind of anxious about. And he would handle that so gracefully. And even if there was something to criticize about it, which there very often was, like, he would be so respectful about it. And he managed to avoid like triggering any of those like anxiety responses from me reading someone's feedback. So like he was genuinely, he was one of, if not the only person who could have been like, who could have been the creative vision holder for this project. His creative vision is fantastic. It's genuinely unmatched. And the fact that he decided to use that creative vision to give other people a platform and an avenue to add their own creativity into it, and to present that to someone on the internet that they really, really admire and who means a lot to them, is so incredibly commendable. Like, he didn't need to do this. He could have written this song, gotten 2 or 3 musicians that he's good friends with on it, made it, and released it. He didn't need to do all of this. Obviously, the video wouldn't have been as, like, beautifully animated, and there wouldn't have been, like, 160 different voices on it. But, like, he could have handled this very differently, but he chose to make it an infinitely more complex and difficult task, but in turn, that would allow so many more people to participate in it. And like that, like, he gave himself a headache in doing that. He did not need to do that, but he did. And I respect that so incredibly much. Because this project, it's not just this project anymore. It's not just the world outside anymore. It expanded, like, a couple days in, especially during, like, the final 4 or 5 days of the project, like, the scope of everyone in there expanded from, let's make this the best it can be, to, let's give everyone in this team, like, an opportunity to do something with their creativity, like, beyond just this. I met some people that I think, and I can't predict this, obviously, but even just from talks that I've had with some of them, I met people that I think are going to change how I operate in the VTubing industry and the music industry for the rest of my life. Like, when I said in the piano video that, like, this project was changing my life, like, I mean it. I do genuinely mean it. Like, first we have Chris and Lightshard, who helped with production on the piano cover that you just saw. I didn't do that on my own. I got really stuck with the mix, and I asked Chris for help, and he grabbed one of his buddies in as well, and we literally spent until 7 in the morning. We spent about 6 hours straight just working on that mix until it was finished. And also, big shout out to Riku for actually allowing these remixes to be on the official album. It's out everywhere now, or it's almost everywhere. Like, I know Spotify has it, I know Apple Music and iTunes have it. If you search for Spotify or on your streaming platform for The World Outside, not only will you see the main song on the album, but you will see all of those remixes that you just saw in that relay. They're all on the official album. So, and that was so cool of Riku to do, because it means that, like, all of us have a chance to get our music out there to even more people. Because maybe someone will see The World Outside and want to go listen to it, and then they'll click on the album and they see all of the other remixes, and some of them might give them a shot, and maybe that'll help us find some new fans as well. So that was genuinely so cool of him, and he did not need to do that, but he did. And everyone who submitted a remix before the deadline got accepted. He was very clear in saying, like, I do want it to, like, be up to quality standards, because obviously I'm putting this on my own Spotify profile, or I'm putting this on my own, like, this is going to be connected to my name, so I would want it to be of a quality that I would be happy with. And so from the get-go, I was like, okay, there's probably going to be, like, 2, maybe 3 that'll get accepted. I was moderately confident in mine, especially after the call that I had with Chris and Lightshard. Because I knew that like it had been we'd gone over it for a long time. It sounded really, really good, but I wasn't sure. And the moment that the announcement came out that like all 6 of us made it onto the album, I cried. I cried when I saw that. Not just because I was happy for myself, but because I was so happy for the rest of my team. Like, it's really the feeling of community that's sort of like been conceived out of all of this. Everyone wants each other to succeed here, and you know, I'm not going to talk about this at all, but if you have been spending time in the VTubing industry the last week or two, and you've been scrolling around your social media platforms while everything is on fire, being inside of a group that so very, very clearly wants to see everyone thrive and wants to see everyone succeed, and the amount of lengths that people in that group are going to make sure everybody else gets there is insane, right? It's funny because my initial submission was not at the part, but Riku gave me a second shot. He's an incredible fucking guy. Like, genuinely. I very, very briefly met him at VTuber Expo up in Birmingham last year. Like, and when I say briefly, I mean very briefly. That's how I like found out about him. Is right during that convention. And he's genuinely such a cool and down-to-earth guy. Like, I'm so glad that we were able to, like, work on all of this, because, man, just man. But, God, where was I? I'm losing so much track of, like, the story that I'm trying to tell here. I really appreciate all of you sticking around here, by the way, and listening to my rambling. I did a lot of that this week. Every so often, the voice call that we were in while working would absolutely devolve. At one point, we were waiting on new submissions to come in, so Chris did his pulls for Vivian in Zenless. Got Vivian in the first 10 pull, and the entire VC started screaming. So that was very fun. Sorry, I just saw Riku reply to my fucking announcement tweet about the piano version, just going, "Your video is evil," and I cried like a baby. Now I know what it feels like, taste of my own medicine. That's why I did it. I warned the entire project team from the very beginning, like, if you are watching this video and you worked on this, you are probably going to cry. You are probably going to cry. One of my biggest regrets is that I didn't have more time to help polish everyone's submissions. I would have if I had the time and energy, but I was really struggling towards the end. I think all of us were, man. Like, there's always going to be a part of me that wishes I could have done more. Even now, like, listening back to the full version of the song, I wish I could have tightened up the myth vocals slightly further. Because I don't get me wrong, I do think they sound great. In large part due to how great the, like, raw takes from the 3 of them were. Maury's especially took me the fuck out. That's all I can say about that. It was really good, just even raw. I mean, it goes to show, you know, all 3 of them have been part of hololive for, you know, almost 5 years now. So it's unsurprising that their submissions were all of, like, really, really good quality. Also, big shout out Kiara for submitting multiple versions so that I could pick between all of them. Also, big shout out Kiara for mentioning the song on Holo Talk yesterday. Like, can we talk about that? Can we, like, talk about how insane of a goat Takanashi or Kiara is? Like, oh my god. First of all, sending multiple takes so that I could pick the best versions. Also, her like Gura at the very start of it, where they all call out to Gura, is cute as hell. And then like her talking about the song on Holo Talk to Gura directly, and then later the funniest possible outcome. Riku tweeted about the fact that Kiara mentioned it on Holo Talk, and then Kiara just replied to it with, "I got you, bro." And I'm like, dude, okay. Truly, KFP fans, y'all got it. KFP, y'all got it good, man. Y'all got it really good. I wish I had more time to engage with like streams and everything, because I really don't, unfortunately. But like every single time that I catch something from Kiara, I'm always like, I always like enjoy her a little bit more every time I catch something. And I'm so glad that like all three of them were able to make it onto the song. I'm pretty sure Mori, she mentioned it as well on stream yesterday. At least that's hearsay. I have heard that from other people. I've not actually seen the clip, but like they're all so incredible. And the fact that not only Riku shot his shot to get them on here, knowing that like they've never been a part of like a fan project like this before, right? Because, you know, we all know like hololive is pretty like protective of their talents, and they are very, very careful with allowing their talents into anything that they don't have like very clear oversight over, which makes a lot of sense, especially for like some of their bigger talents. So the fact that they allowed these three girls to sing on this song and then trusted us to just do it right and to like get it all done and to get it into the video, like the level of trust that Riku must have built with the people over at Cover to get that to happen just goes to show how good of a person he is. Because how else would this have happened, right? I don't know anything about the ins and outs of like how it came to be, and I don't think I ever will, and I don't think you guys ever will, because obviously that's all behind the scenes stuff. I just know that it happened, but for it to have happened, like, that's insane to me. And I wish I could have tightened up the vocals a little bit better. I genuinely did. That'll probably be like the one thing that's gonna nag me for a little bit, but it's not nagging me much because I have to consider the state that I was in when I received the info that like that's something that I would be doing. I'm not gonna lie to you. First of all, it was 8 in the morning. I had not gone to bed yet. That is very important. It was 8 in the morning. I had been working for the last like 14, 15 hours. I had not yet gone to bed. I was still with Chris, tightening up the crowd vocal. Like the assembly of all of the crowd vocals into like one big file, or I guess multiple, because there's one separate for each harmony line that we could send off to Shiro, our mixer. By the way, I gotta talk about Shiro in a little bit, because she is incredible, but I'll get to her. I'll get to fucking Shiro when when we get there. But we were tightening that up, and then Riku sends me a friend request, and I remember out loud, it was just Chris and I in the VC, I remember out loud saying like, oh, Riku just sent me a friend request. And I remember Chris going, oh, that's weird. He hasn't sent me one yet. And in hindsight, extremely funny. Because I now know what the friend request is for. I didn't know it at the time. And like I was about to go to bed. We were already like chatting about going to bed. We were like doing our last bit of rambles. And then Riku sends me a message going, "Hey Rosa, quick question. Do you happen to, obviously not now, like you have been working for a long time, you should go get some rest, but in the morning, would you be down to possibly do some extra tune timing work?" I specifically think he mentioned extra secret tune timing work. I think that was the wording. Yes, there's a final time tuning task if you're up for it, but it's highly secretive. And I'm so mad about the reply I gave, because I initially said, part of me kind of wants to be responsible and spend the next few days fixing my sleep schedule. But I know for a fact I won't be able to put this project to rest, so hit me. Give it to me. What do you got? And he was immediately like, "Yeah, I'm about to add you to a group chat. Imagine there is an NDA for all of this. Because, I can't make you sign one right now, but, like, this is secretive. You cannot fucking talk about this until this project is out." Which is why I won't go into too many of the details, obviously. Only, like, the funny outlines. So I get added in, and there's, like, a big voice message that Riku instructed me to listen to. But just very, very briefly, while I was scrolling up to get to that voice message, I saw the word myth. And I swear to God, I instantly said to Chris, "Oh yeah, no man, I'm getting way too tired now. I know we've been yapping for a little bit extra, but like I really gotta go to bed." And Chris was like, "All right, have a good night." And I said, "Have a good night." And I left, and I listened to that voice message, and it was like, it was the news. It was, we got Callie, Ina, and Kiara to sing on this song. And we need to have them tune timed. And remember when I said that it was 8 in the morning and I had been sleeping I'd been working for 15 hours? I could not sleep for the next 4 hours or so. I couldn't. I could not sleep. How was I meant to? How was I meant to fall asleep after being asked that? And I guess this is a great time to talk about Shiro, because obviously when you get added to a DM chat, like, you can read the entire history as well. Shiro is one of the main reasons that I was chosen, because Shiro was just like, "Oh yeah, maybe we can ask Rosa," because they were trying to figure out who they should ask, and Shiro specifically vouched for me. And I was like, fuck, okay. Shit. That's really sweet, but also, why would you do this to me? Why didn't you vouch for Chris? Why did you vouch for me? Yeah, Shiro genuinely, Shiro Beats, for the people that don't know, incredibly talented producer. Some of my, like, genuinely some of my favorite original songs in VTubing are produced by Shiro. So the fact that I even got to meet them is crazy. Like, I have been looking, I was fangirling. I'm gonna be completely straight with you. I was fangirling, or I was trying not to fangirl incredibly hard, and I was failing. I was not succeeding. Cause, look, I've met a couple, decently big VTubers that I look up to from a, like, VTubing and content perspective. But none of them I've ever, like, when meeting them, I've never been, like, so starstruck that, like, I didn't know how to, like, how to carry myself. That never happened, no matter, like, what VTuber I was meeting, because I was always like, oh, I mean, these people are just doing the same thing that I'm doing. They might be doing it better and to a bigger audience, but, like, they're just people on the internet trying to entertain others. And I never found it difficult to handle that. Shiro, Riku, and Daryl were some of the first people that I was actually like, holy shit, when I got to like properly interact with them on this project. And Shiro and I got a lot closer as well over the week because obviously because nobody was allowed to know about the myth vocals, the mix had to be done entirely in secret, and this was before we decided that we would make a fake version of the mix to send it to the rest of the group. And it additionally, like, I guess we wanted to make sure that it was like in a very presentable state before we asked the feedback of other people, but that just ended up taking a while. So the entire, I vividly remember, we had a daily update that just like brought the entire team up to speed on what was happening and like where everything stood with every single team currently. And I remember for like 3-4 days straight, the daily update started with the sentence, "Pretty slow news day today, but keep up the good work," or something like that. And the only reason that was the case is because it wasn't a slow news day. We just couldn't tell people what the news was. We couldn't show the news. So we had to pretend it was a slow news day, even though a lot was happening. Big shout out to Nova, by the way. Nova was the editor, or the like one of the lead editors on this project, who was made aware. Nova was one of the people in the know, and the amount of gaslighting that man had to do to get everything into a spot where no one would find out about the myth vocals, but we could still get access to like the final edit of everything that we could then insert the different song onto, or like the actual final song onto. The amount of gaslighting that man had to do to get to that point is so funny. I feel like we genuinely like lost some trust with the people on this team because no one saw it coming. Genuinely, people did not see it coming, and I was so scared that like somebody, mostly myself, I was so scared one of us would slip up. But yeah, during the last few days when like all of the individual stems were done, the mix needed to be worked on, and Shiro was the one doing that. World's best social deduction player could lie to everyone with ease. Real. Guys, should we do an Among Us session with all of the, no. If we do an Among Us session with all of the people who were in the know, and then a couple people who weren't, I think we will get voted out every single time. Where was I? Right, Shiro. Shiro started working on the mix, and I remember saying in that group chat, like, hey, by the way, if you just need, like, a second pair of ears, just to, like, listen to something, you're way better at all of this than I am, but if you just need... One of the biggest hurdles when you're working on music is, at one point, you will have listened to your own music for so long that your ears are entirely desensitized to it, and you stop hearing small mistakes, right? You stop noticing. You stop noticing things. So that's why I was like, if that happens, and if you're at a point where like you don't really know like what the next step is, send me an update and like I'll try my best to lend my ears. Repetition legitimizes, exactly. Anyway, dude, my model's freaking out, I think. I'm seeing it like, yeah, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna recalibrate real quick. There we go. That should hopefully be a bit, not quite, but whatever. Yeah, so, and Shiro took me up on that offer. I was not expecting, let's be real, I was not expecting her to take me up on that offer. Because, you know, I'm just some random person, who has been added into this project. I am just another person out of the 130. And sure, I may have gotten selected to be the person to do the myth vocal tune timing, but like, I don't have a track record. At least not a track record. The size and quality of someone like Riku, someone like Shiro, someone like Daryl. Oh my god, I need to talk about Daryl in a bit, because what a fucking woman. She knows what she's doing, and she is so good at it. I wish I had more space in the piano video to tell, like, or to, like, give more people a, like, more fleshed out thank you. I really wish that I had more space for that, but, like, I wanted to tell the story properly. And I just couldn't leave any of the parts out, so we only had space for 4 people, and, like, those people, it was pretty obvious who those 4 people were gonna be. I'm gonna, like, restart my VTube studio really quick. Do not mind me. My model's gonna freeze for a second. Oh, that's a fantastic place to freeze in. Nova, what's up? The ultimate gaslighter. Welcome in. Calibrate real quick. Boom. So, I am, unfortunately. It's him, get him! I was talking just now about how I really respected how insanely you had to gaslight the rest of the editing team, and how much you had to, like, make yourself look like an absolute weirdo, just to make sure that no one else found out. It was so funny. It was, I feel really bad for Chris as well, because obviously Chris is my team lead. By the way, shout out to Chris, Pebble. I need to talk about Pebble. Oh my, I have so many fucking people to talk about. I only have 25 or 35 minutes left. Jesus. Chris, Pebble, and Riku for handing me a promotion to co-lead of Toontime. And to be fair, this happened basically as most of the Toontime work had already finished, so it didn't actually have that much of a impact on like what I was doing, because I was still just doing the same things. But it was a like ceremonial promotion. Yeah, I need to do the final render for her. Like, it's so funny. Like, I'm gonna hit render and then stare at my PC and cry as the progress bar hits 100%. As if you were not entirely desensitized by the time that the edit was done, that, like, the video would make you feel absolutely nothing for a while. I certainly had that with the music for a little bit. Like, I believe that good work deserves to be recognized. It was a no-brainer. Dude, Chris, you're a fucking goat, man. But yeah, so, like, the promotion that I got to co-lead was very much, like, ceremonial, which meant that they really didn't need to do it. Like, it wasn't that we were in need of another lead on the on the Toontime team. Like, we weren't. Like, Toontime was doing fucking fantastic. We were a day ahead of schedule at one point. Like, after all the vocal submissions came in, after the deadline for that wrapped, we had about 48 hours after end of vocal submissions to have all of them tune timed. We were done in under 24 hours after submissions closed. Now, granted, that is because we kind of avoided the big surge of submissions right at the very end. During the entire project, we were expecting like a massive surge of submissions at the very end, because that's how it typically goes with like community projects. Like, you know, the trickle is pretty slow, and then when you send people like the 24-hour reminder, that's when everyone will go, oh fuck, I need to do this today, because otherwise I won't ever have the chance to do it. And that's when like the surge of all submissions comes in. We didn't have that, and that's not because like people didn't want to submit. It's actually because we got people to submit sooner. We avoided it in large part by giving each other so much confidence and giving people so many pep talks, that people ended up doing their recordings sooner. I'm sure that a lot of the people who submitted because of those pep talks still would have submitted something on like the last day, but the reason that they didn't do it on the last day was because those pep talks helped people gather the confidence to just finish a recording, be happy with it, and send it in. I very, very explicitly remember a quote from Chris that resonated with a lot of people. Perfect is the enemy of done, is what he said to everyone in the vocalist coordination chat, and that really got people going. I think like that really made people realize, okay, it doesn't need to be perfect, especially because like I was also talking a lot in the vocalist coordination channel about how much we as tune timers can do to make you sound better. Like, Melodyne and all of the other tools that we have are genuine miracle pieces of software. So the fact that a lot of people don't understand how much can be done, and obviously, like, a better raw recording is always going to sound better after going through the whole vocal production, right? The better the raw recording is, the better the final product is going to sound. But there's kind of like if your recording is 10% worse, that doesn't mean the final product will be 10% worse. It's only when your raw recording starts getting significantly worse that you start noticing in the final version. Like, if your timing is just a bit too far off, that when I correct it, you can very clearly hear that it's been corrected. Same for pitch. Like, if your pitch and if your vibrato and if your, like, specifically pitch glides between two notes are quite off, that's gonna sound corrected. But like, there's a lot that you can do slightly imperfectly that you can correct and make it sound like it was done perfectly, right? And a lot of people just don't know that, and like, that's something that I want to dedicate myself to in the not too distant future. I want to dedicate myself to making sure that more people have more requisite knowledge and vocabulary to understand what goes into the production side of things and the mixing side of things. Because I specifically, before my work on this project, most of my work has been with people that haven't really done this before. I've worked with a lot of people on their first cover, right? Because they've never, or like they are like doing karaoke streams, but they never like recorded professionally or like worked with a mixer. Like, they would just try and do it themselves, not really, you know, make it sound as best as they could with the knowledge they had. But then, like, working with me was the first time that they were working with a mixer. And every single time that happens, I try my best to give a pep talk to these people, mostly in the form of just informing them about what it is that we can actually do to your voice and to the entire cover. Because if you don't understand the amount of things that can be done it is a lot more difficult to judge for yourself when something will be perfect. Like, when is something, or not even perfect, when is something good enough? When is something in a state that you can go, I'm happy with this, to send it off to my mixer so that we can go. And I want to, like, dedicate myself in this industry to giving more people that knowledge. Giving more people the terminology, even in its simplest form, because I genuinely believe that everyone deserves to be able to work on some sort of musical thing, because it is so important. Music is so important to so many people, and it's such a good way to reach the people in your audience as well. Because obviously everyone can connect over your streams, over funny clips, over your videos, over your social media posts, over fan art about you, over interactions with other people in your community. There's a lot of things that someone can connect with other people or with the creator about, right? But nothing goes as personal and as deep for me personally as music does. So being able to make or work on a piece of music for your community, even if it's a cover, even if it's not like an original song, like, it shows a different side of you that I think resonates with a lot of people. So I want as many people as possible to have the opportunity to do that. Even like so much as like a couple days ago, I was in call with someone who I was meeting them for the first time, and I was just being asked by their manager, like, hey, they're a little bit nervous about all of this, and they want to like work with you as a mixer. Could you like come and give them a little pep talk and give them some info about what it is that you can do so that like this can actually start going? And I did that, and it worked great. And I've done that with a lot of people at this point. I just want people shouldn't give up on art. It doesn't frustrate me. It doesn't, because I understand it, because I've been there. I'm still there. I still struggle with this. When I was working on the piano that went into the final arrangement for this song, and when I was working on the tune time of Alina, the main vocalist, and the tune time for Callie, Kiara, and Ina, like, I had so much anxiety about all of that, because that is such a big thing to carry, because it was out of my comfort zone, right? It was something that I had to step out of my comfort zone for. And sure, the things that I did for this are maybe a step higher than just releasing your first cover, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter that it's another step. What matters is that it is a step out of your comfort zone. And it doesn't matter where that step is or how big your comfort zone is, because that's always gonna suck. It's always gonna be difficult to step outside your comfort zone, no matter what you do. Even if it's something like stupidly simple. I'm sure that many of you can relate to having to do something in your life that is so absurdly and stupidly simple, but you're making such a big fuss about it in your own head that you just can't do it. Like, I'm sure everyone's run into something like that in their life, or will run into something like that in their life. Just something that you have like just an irrational fear. And it is irrational, because it doesn't make sense. There shouldn't be a need for you to fear it, because it is such a like stupidly simple thing, and you're like making such a big fuss over it and beating yourself up over it. And you don't have to, but you will, because that's how we operate. That's how humans operate. We're nervous when we have to do something that we're not familiar with. We get anxious when we get asked something that is foreign to us, even if it is something incredibly simple. Obviously, that even even more effects like neurodivergent people like myself. Some people may not struggle much with that. I'm sure there's some people that are very... But you have to remember, when I say some people that very happily deal with stuff like that, I'm specifically not saying some people who will very happily step outside of their comfort zone. Because the whole point of a comfort zone is that you're not very happily stepping outside of it. Your comfort zone is just way larger, right? And there's people out there who have a very, very large comfort zone. And I'm not one of them. And a lot of people are not like that. So the fact that for this project we managed to, like, get so many people on board, and get so many people to submit something, and not just submit one thing, but, like, go back and submit something again. The thing that I need to mention to show, like, how well everyone did, I just need to mention one thing, and that is every single person who submitted vocals for this project made it into the final song. Every single one of them made it in. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's first recording made it in, because we had to go back to a couple people and went like, hey, this thing about your recording, and it typically wasn't even the vocal part that was like not really usable. It was like background noise. There was like a click in the recording, or they recorded with a noise gate, or they peaked their mic a little bit too hard. That especially happened with some of the higher harmonies, because it's almost impossible to sing a harmony that high without being, like, really loud as well. And we had to just tell them, like, hey, could you re-record? Could you submit something again? And every person that we had to tell that to either A, resubmitted and that resubmission made it in, or B, already had something that was in the project and they were just trying to do an additional harmony. But they were already in the project at that point. So every single person who submitted something made it in, and I'm so happy about that. I'm genuinely so happy that everyone made it in. Because that was my biggest fear. My biggest fear was that we would have to tell somebody, hey man, sorry, but you didn't make it. Like, we tried our best, but, like, we couldn't get you in. Because this isn't just a song, right? To a lot of people, this is their goodbye to someone they've had in their life, or however many years it is, like upwards of 4.5, 5 years. For many of those people, it's like it's their send off. It's their farewell to this person, right? And if this was just a regular song that we were taking submissions for, and we had to tell someone, hey, you didn't make the cut, it would suck, but it wouldn't be that devastating, because we could just go, hey, you know, next one we'll try a bit better to get you in. There is no next one for this. We are about to watch the last few hours of Gargura on the internet. That's it. This is it. If you want to make something for her before she graduates, you have to do it now. So we absolutely did not want to tell anybody that. Because and obviously, like, if it did come to that point, we would tell people, because they deserve to know. But we were so afraid of it ever getting to that point, and I'm so glad that it didn't. And it is a testament, not just to, like, the skill of the entire Toontime team, but especially to the perseverance of every single vocalist who, when we told them, hey, you need to re-record this, they did. Even people who we had to tell that on the day of the deadline. If on the day of the deadline we had to tell someone, like, hey, this isn't, there's something wrong with this, they redid it that same day. And that's, like, insane to me. It's genuinely, every single person on the vocal team is so incredibly brave for pushing through with it, and I'm so glad that they all made it in and that they were all able to be a part of this. It's genuinely so heartwarming. I mentioned, like, one line in the video itself, in the piano video, was I listened to 160 people, or I listened to so many chumbuds sing for their Oshi. That is really what it felt like. That is really what tune timing felt like. It felt like I'm not just listening to vocal takes and tune timing them like any other song. I'm listening to people sing for someone that they really respect, appreciate, and adore, right? And the moment that you realize that as you're working, I think that is what made me lock in. I know a lot of people were concerned about me over the course of the project, going like, hey, Rosa, please go to bed. You've been in the VC for like 15 hours. Like, please give yourself rest. And that's why I didn't. It's your fault that I didn't. Like, I just gotta say, it's not my own fault that I didn't rest. It's your fault that I didn't, because listening to everything and interacting with everyone made me not want to. So actually, it's your fault, and not mine. Our admins were on top of everything. The amount of cooperation and coordination. Yeah, no, genuinely. Speaking of admins, I have to shout out someone by the name of Pebble Hill. Now, Pebble Hill, this fucking guy is not only incredibly dry and funny, like, legitimately, Pebble was one of the main reasons that every single night in the VC, at around 3 in the morning my time, or 10 p.m. for, like, most of the Americans that were in there, it was shitpost hour. And Pebble was, in large part, the cause of that. I will be grabbing this really quick, because it's too funny. It's too funny not to. I need to quickly join the stream VC so I can play it on the soundboard. I made this at one point, and it was entirely because of Pebble that I did. That's really quiet. I need to turn up the soundboard volume. I made this. Which is Alina's voice, doo-dooing to Megalovania. That's entirely Pebble's fault. But not only is Pebble really, really funny, but he has such good leadership skills and such good management skills. He was on top of everything constantly. Like, I know I stayed up for like 15, 16 hours every day working on this. Pebble stayed up longer and for more days than I did. I came in when the project was already going for multiple days, when they had already, like, sourced vocalists and they were sourcing artists and they were working on the storyboard. I came in a few days late because they didn't start bringing on tune timers until, like, the first vocal submissions came in. Because there was just so many people to onboard and so many people to bring onto the project that like, all of the time was being spent on that. And somehow, like, he managed to keep a close eye on all of that. And I'm genuinely so impressed by Hill. He is a fantastic soul, incredibly kind, but also knows when shit is getting real and people need a stick up their ass. Like, he was not afraid to, like, tell someone the deal when it needed to be done. Like, if something was a little bit late, or, like, we were starting to run out of time, he took it upon himself to, like, be the bearer of that news every single time, and make sure that the project stayed on rails the entire time. And I don't think I need to tell you, even if you weren't a part of this or have never been a part of something of this size, when you're working on a project with 130 people, there are so many possible points of failure. Like, the amount of fail states that this project had, or like the amount of possible fail states that this project had, were astronomical, right? So much could have gone wrong. And while, sure, not everything went flawlessly, like, the project made it to the finish line. And it would not have. It would have crashed and burned less than halfway through if it wasn't for, if not in the first 10% of the project, it would have collapsed if not for Hill. Especially when Riku was away for a few days, he was traveling, like, Hill basically fully took over, like, every single thing that, like, Riku would otherwise be, like, providing insight and feedback on, and he did that so incredibly well. I only have 10 minutes left, so I gotta get through a couple more people. Yeah, I never finished what I was saying about Shiro. Shiro, incredibly kind, gave me such an important pep talk after I was given the privilege to work on the myth vocals. She gave me such an important pep talk that I desperately needed at the time, because I will fully admit, looks like you have to do a follow-up stream. I think I do. I think I really do. Because I just have so much, I have so much love to give for this entire team. I really do. And I think it'll be better if I process it a little bit more before I talk about more of it. But yeah, so I will fully admit, after I got the news that I would be doing the myth vocals, the morning after, I had a full-on nervous breakdown and panic attack. Like, and that's why, at the very end of the piano video, one of the people that I, like, thanked more explicitly was not actually someone from the project team. It was Atlas, my partner, the love of my life, my housemate, my best friend, all of the above. Oh my god, yeah, there you are. Fuck. Now I'm talking directly to you. Now I'm... If I'm being sappy and you're not here to notice, it's much easier. Much easier to be sappy without you knowing. Literally just tuned in like 2 minutes ago. Fuck! Fuck! Sorry, I'll hide again. No, stay, it's okay, no, come back. But yeah, like, I had a full-on panic attack. And, like, I genuinely needed to be brought back down to earth. Atlas was one of the first people to do that, but they could only get me so far. Because at the end of the day, like, I was having a panic attack because of the work I was doing, and Atlas can take me out of the panic attack, but they can't stop me from having to do the work. Like, the work still needed to be done, right? There's only so much you can do. And the person who took me out of the, like, panic attack on the work side of things was Shiro. And now, she doesn't know that she did that, because I never said openly. Not quite capable enough to do it for you. Yeah, exactly, that's what I mean. Like, I couldn't do the shit you do, you couldn't do the shit I do. But, yeah, like, Shiro genuinely, like, helped me find some confidence that I had lost over the course of those few days, especially, oh my god, dude, when the first few drafts of the mix were sent, and I was listening to it, and there were a lot of points of feedback that I had about the vocals specifically. But almost all of that was not on Shiro's end. Almost all of that was, this is stuff that should have been fixed in the tune time, especially with Alina's main vocal. And I got so in my own head about having not noticed that while working on it. And the main reason is because compression, vocal compression will highlight small inaccuracies so much more, like, explicitly. If there's, like, a very tiny click or a stretch or, like, a breath that doesn't sit quite right or that should have been edited somehow, compression will highlight those, because what compression does is it will make the loud parts thing a little bit quieter and the quiet parts a little bit louder, so that everything sits a little bit closer together and it sounds nicer. And it will highlight all of those very, very nearly inaudible inaccuracies and put them on full display. Now, I was not being rational. I didn't realize that, even though I knew that that's what would happen. And I heard those errors, and I was so in panic over just not knowing how to fix it. And I wasn't able to go to Chris about it either, because if Chris knew that I was so, like, that I was more heavily involved in the mix, he would get suspicious. Because, like, why me and not him, right? Why is he not being brought up to speed about it? So I couldn't go to the person who was, like, basically my mentor for the entire project. If I ever didn't know what I was doing, Chris would help me, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't, like, rely on, like, my support network for this. I only had the people that knew about this, and basically the only two people that could help me with the Toontime stuff were Riku and Shiro. Riku wasn't really home yet at this time. He wasn't really fully available yet, so it was just Shiro. And she brought me back on the right path. And has been so incredibly sweet since then. We're hoping that we're able to work on something together in the near future. Shiro is one of the people on this project that I very much feel comfortable calling a friend. At the end of all this. Now, obviously, we would need to interact outside of the stress of this project to, like, get to know each other a bit better. But, like, considering how this went, I'm sure that'll go okay. And there's a lot more people in this project that, like, I genuinely feel comfortable considering a friend now. The entire Toontime and music team, first of all. Like, all of them, I feel very comfortable calling each and every one of those people a friend. And, like, Shiro, Pebble, Sacred Fire, Zephyriana, Rin, Lopezi, Board Dum Dum, Not Yama, Chris, like, especially, obviously. Like, I feel comfortable calling all of them friends after this project, and I'm so happy about that. Because while I do have a lot of friends in the VTubing sphere, I don't have a lot of friends in the creative side of the VTubing, like the music side of the VTubing sphere. And after this project, I feel like I do, which is just fantastic. And I'm so looking forward to... I know all of us are going to go our separate ways and work on our own things. Everyone has lives to live to go back to now that this project is over, right? Everyone needs to go back to their own stuff. I have an incredibly exciting thing that I get to announce at the end of this week that is genuinely going to change everything on this channel. I'm not saying that I'm going to make different content or anything like that. Not that kind of change, but, like, it is a genuinely monumental thing that I get to announce at the end of this week. And I need to go back to that. Like, we all have lives to go back to, but I'm so looking forward to, even if it's just very occasionally, having an interaction with these people, working with them on something. I'm sure there's going to be another big project, probably not the size of The World Outside, because I don't think that a project of that size and scope could be done if it wasn't for Gura being the catalyst for that project. Like, I don't think something like that would have happened without that. So I don't think something of this size will happen for a long time. But I'm sure there will be more projects that I will involve myself in, and I am so looking forward to reconnect with every single one of these people and just either have a chat or just work on something, because they're all genuinely incredible. Before I go, because I do need to leave very, very soon, because the Myth collaboration relay is starting, and I'm assuming that a lot of you in chat are going to want to watch that. I don't want to take that away from you, because it's, you know, it's our last 4 hours of Gura on the internet, yeah, I know a lot of people are going to be sad about that. So I'm gonna head off, but before I go, to everyone on the World Outside team, thank you for being so patient with me. Thank you for putting your trust into me when I was a complete stranger, and I had nothing to prove to you that you needed to put your trust in me. You just did. Thank you for giving me the privilege to work with you. Thank you for trusting me to be a team lead and like lifting me up to that point. Thank you for being there at the very early hours of the morning when I was genuinely struggling to stay awake, to just keep me going. Thank you for all of the funny ass shit posts that we made over the course of the week. Thank you for the laughs, for the tears. You are all a bunch of incredible people, and even if we all go our separate ways and we all work on different things and we don't have much time to interact with each other, I will try my best to continue lifting you all up and making sure that all of you reach the heights that you deserve to reach, because you truly do. You truly do. I'm gonna step away. I'm gonna process the fact that the World Outside is over. That's gonna take me a little bit, so I do apologize if there's not gonna be any remaining streams this week. But yeah, thank you all so much. I truly wish you all the best. Good night, y'all. Where the fuck is my outro screen? Oh my god, I'm blind. Alright. I want a good night, y'all, to be my last words. Pretend you didn't hear that. Good night, y'all.